Do you want to learn what it takes to become a Hall of Fame coach? Then this show is for you. Why do you coach?
So what's it like then to be in the Olympics?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you were 84 Olympics, right? So that's the LA.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's a pretty cool Olympics.
It was very cool. A lot of people said in the beginning or over the, it's a shame you weren't in some other country. I said, oh, no. We were so fortunate that it was in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Just the food and the language and the logistics. And even back in 84, we had SWAT men on top of our buildings.
Really?
Because of the other Olympics, the things that had happened. So when you'd come to the village, there were men on the roof of USC with their, shotguns. We had badges to get in.
Right.
You couldn't go anywhere without your badge.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And that was for me as a kid, I was a nut with USA basketball. So that was the Jordan Ewing. I mean, I could
the dream team.
Yeah, Wayman Tisdale, all the way down.
Leon Wood.
Leon Wood, who was drafted by the Sixers and was an official in the league for so long.
We get to the village.
Yeah, this is what we wanted. I wanted to prep you with some stories.
And it's a big giant, probably 18 stories. And
what?
18 stories high.
Okay.
A building. And I think we were on the 12th floor. So we get up to our floor, you have these little kind of apartments. And we're in our section. And then these giant men get off the elevator into our floor. It's Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan. We're like, oh my God. They're on our floor.
Wow.
And they were in they were in college at the time because it wasn't pros yet.
Yeah.
But,
So it wasn't
that would never happen. So those guys were all on our floor. Bobby Knight, George Raveling. And so my parents are driving across country to come to the Olympics. Now remember, they have 8 kids. So they buy a brand new station wagon and 4 of them came, and my mom and dad. And they stopped along the way. We didn't do a lot of traveling. Which are in a family of 8 kids.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you go to Ocean
the funds
City
have to go certain places.
That's it. You go to Ocean City. That's it.
You're
done.
funding food at that point.
So they drive across, and they get out there, and we're at our first practice session, and there's my parents and my brother, and they're all in these cowboy hats because they had driven across them. I'm like, oh, my God, how embarrassing. So I'm up on the floor that day when I got back after training, and I was telling someone, my parents are over there, the cowboy hats on. And George Raveling said, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of it. And he went and got them all USA basketball, baseball hats.
Oh, that's cool.
So we got rid of the, the Beverly Hillbillies, and then they got the baseball. It's
awesome. What was George Raveling was an assistant for them?
He was,
right?
yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I followed the whole tryout. I remember reading the paper after each day of the Olympic basketball tryouts, finding out who got, Charles Barkley got cut, and it was just interesting. I was an Indiana basketball fan as a kid, and so I was a Bob Knight fan as a kid, and so I followed the whole thing, and I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, which has come out a little bit in the podcast. So yeah, that's got to be really cool. Really cool.
Couldn't go anywhere if you weren't training. You were pretty much in the village or in your room. Mm-hmm. You couldn't just go out places. And so this is before cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just hang out. We'd have the TV on. They'd come in. Patrick Ewing would sit down in our room, and we'd sit down. We'd watch TV and, fool around, joke around. And it was like it was nothing.
Right.
It was such a great experience.
So cool. That's so cool. And that's just the basketball. I'm sure it was other athletes.
Oh, yeah. They were the water polo guys.
Yeah.
They would take you to their events. And the swimming, we could look out our window and see some of the swimming.
No, really?
Mm-hmm.
Those are expensive tickets now.
Yeah. I mean, how was that to be around that level of athlete? Not just obviously your team and you, but also to see it in other, not just the U.S., but also, you're going around and you're seeing these people.
It was just, you were in awe of everything around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think we appreciated it. I don't think we overlooked it. I remember being in the elevator going up to my room, and it must have been maybe 3 days after Joan Benoit won the gold medal in the marathon, first ever women's marathon. So I'm in the elevator going up after practice, and and she gets in the elevator. I'm like, oh my God. So I go, so I'm thinking, what am I going to say? I said, we went to the marathon. We went down and stood along the, and I said, wow, you ran a great race. Now, how ridiculous does that say? That was
it's true.
She said, thank you. And then we got chatting, and her niece played field hockey, and I had about 8 sticks in my bag. I gave her one of my sticks, and after that, I started running marathons, not because of her, but I always had an interest in running. Right. But to meet Joan Benoit in the elevator 3 days after she won the gold medal, I thought, you know what? I don't have to ever even live anymore. This is it. This is it. I've seen it all.
So Gina, you saw events, you met a lot of people. Did you get a chance could you see anybody train? Did you see anybody practice? Were there any commonalities? You talked about how you made the team, you believe, because your drive and your traits, right? You see anything like that? Do you think that there are commonalities across sports?
I did, but I don't know that I saw it at the Village. I saw it more when we were in at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. Okay. And again, it was, for those days, you thought, wow, this is the training that the speed skaters did. They had these unbelievable mechanisms they used to train. Yeah. And the track athletes, they just had all these different modalities for training that was really inspiring to me. I thought you could do anything if you had this type of
that's cool.
support. And you saw the weightlifters, the wrestlers. Nutrition became a big thing. How to eat. And so people were talking about things like that where nobody used to talk about things like that.
So cool.
So I saw it in that venue more than at the Village.
Gotcha.
You pretty much, we did go out with people when they won medals, because I'm pretty sure the swimmers were some of the earlier events, and they were in our area. And so you could actually go out the back through like a chain link fence, and there was a little bar there. And we would all meet, and nobody else really, it was like a local bar. Almost. And the medalists would be there, and they'd be wearing their gold medals.
So much for security.
I know. Anymore, you'd be shot. It was great, so we could hang out. People would have their medals on. And
that's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, so you also became a wonderful coach, a very successful coach, right? You coached for 34 years, and your record was 478.
Get it right.
97 and 1.
Get it right.
I'm reading it, so I am getting it right.
What he said to me was like, can you believe she lost 97 games?
I get it.
That's what I said, too.
He's making up a story there.
It wasn't my fault.
So how much of those lessons that you learned, so a lot of it was innate in you, right? But to have that kind of record, you had to instill some of your drive, your passion, your love for working out and training. You had to instill some of that in the players. Is that right?
Well, yes, you do. That's my goal, is to try to instill in them a desire to better themselves. Mm-hmm. But I was in a situation, it's high school, and when I first went to Episcopal Academy, I wasn't just coaching the varsity team. I would coach the 6th grade team, then the 8th grade team, and then the varsity team, like all in one day when I first started.
Okay.
And so it was more just inspiring kids, whatever sport they were doing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Work hard,
Yep.
Be a good teammate, don't be afraid to fall, to mess up, try things, that kind of a thing.
We'll be right back to the Nick Anthony Show.
Today's show is brought to you by John Gannon Music, genre-exploding music for your daily adventures. Visit johngannon.bandcamp.com. That's johngannon.bandcamp.com, and look for it on all music streaming platforms.
Welcome back to the Nick Anthony Show.
So I was in an environment. Episcopal Academy has a great culture. It is not just about academics or athletics. It's about the arts. It's about, being a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that environment. And I think that suited me well in terms of being able to coach kids.
So what led you to coaching? What was it like? Was it the love of the sport? Was it the love of your experiences? Was it?
So I have to say, my experiences, I would not have experienced what I've experienced in my life without coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I figured out that you could actually have a profession that involved athletics, coaching, I knew that it was for me. I never even considered doing anything else.
Yeah.
As soon as I got to Ursinus, I knew I wanted to be teaching, coaching, competing.
Yeah. Were you education? Maybe?
I was.
Yeah.
Health and physical education.
Yeah, that's great.
And I wasn't the best student.
No?
No.
Mm.
I was too busy getting ready for, preparing for my athletic experience.
Yeah.
I spent far too much time doing that. I should have spent a lot more time, in my academics.
I think it worked out.
But it did work out. It did work out.
So yeah, talk about your coaching. I mean, first of all, how did you feel? Did you love coaching the 6th grade and the 8th grade? And
I
not
did.
all at the same time. I don't mean it that way because that's obviously a lot. But did that type of exposure of teaching, that age help you
I
later
loved it. I loved it immediately.
on? Yeah.
And my first job I ever really had was somebody asked me to coach at their camp.
Hmm.
And I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy kids. I like to have fun.
Right.
And I like to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like to see young people kind of find out who they are and make their way.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was through athletics and coaching.
Yeah, and you kind of hinted on it earlier, but that you played with this Hall of Fame coach or these. How did they inspire you, or were there any in particular that was like, wow, that I can't believe how much they affected me in my life? I mean, obviously your family is very important and how much influence, that's clear.
Yes.
But talk about the coaches, because obviously, a lot of what we talk about is just the amazing impact coaches can have and how important it is, as a career or just as a volunteer. They have this incredible impact on people.
And I would say that all of my coaches, there wasn't one in particular because they were all very different personalities. But all of them had, a profound impact on me as a coach. And, you take some of the things that are natural to you and then you amp them up because that's your way of speaking or your way of interacting. And then there are other things that that wouldn't be me. I couldn't even do that if I tried. And so although that still helped me, because I really do believe that, and I had all women coaches, all those women, they wanted you to be better. You were really never coddled. We weren't, it was really about being the best version of yourself and how you were going to impact the team. Like what did you do? What value added are you?
Yeah, right.
And each of them in their own different ways. And some of them were some of the best coaches. Sue Stahl was the, do you know Sue Stahl?
I know the name, yes.
Okay, well, ultimately she ended up coaching the World Cup, USA World Cup women's lacrosse and winning a gold medal. She was one of my lacrosse coaches at Ursinus. And Marge Watson was the head lacrosse coach, and she was the assistant USA field hockey coach. So Marge is the head lacrosse coach, Sue Stahl is the assistant. That's a formidable lacrosse staff right there.
Right.
And they coached me. Adele Boyd won national championships. She was the field hockey coach at Ursinus. Libby Williams was famous. Many of her high school athletes went on to play at USA, Field Hockey USA Lacrosse. Pat West, her basketball teams went to the Hershey Farm Arena to compete in basketball. So I was impacted by so many women who got very little notoriety for what they did.
Right.
And, you know, I was the beneficiary.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So what did you take from those lessons and applied to this players that you took care of as a coach?
I knew what it did for me, and so I really wanted to be sure that I was giving kids every opportunity to be who they were. And it never was about, I mean, I wanted to win, and I'm very competitive, and I want to win. And the reason I always wanted to win, it was so important, was because I wanted the kids to be rewarded for their hard work, for their sacrifice, for what they were doing, so that they get that feeling of, if you work hard, if you are unselfish, if you're willing to take constructive criticism, to really look at yourself and see what role you are playing in your, you know, development or your not development, you know, those kinds of things. I thought that was, you know, I thought that was the most important thing I could do.
Yeah, that's cool. What was your biggest evolution as a coach from when you first started to later in your career, where you can really see like, yeah, I evolved.
Yeah. I was probably a little bit, not my way or the highway, but much more demanding that everybody do this way because I say so. Like, don't ask me why, just do it. You know, one of those things.
Yeah.
And then you realize that doesn't work as well as you get, you know, as times change and kids change and parents change. I feel like that's what I did the best was I did adapt. I didn't just stay as I was when I started. I kept reading and watching, and I'd always go to the boys' basketball practices. I'd go to ice hockey practice. I'd sneak into college practices. I just watched people, and I took things.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it is funny to think like of the things that you used to worry about, you know, when you were a 30-year-old coach, and you're kind of thinking like, this is so important. This is the most important thing I do. And then you're, you know, 20 years later and you realize you're not even doing that anymore. Right. So I think that, I mean, I would interpret a little bit of what you said. You know, a lot of your success is that you are open. I mean, we talked about it with your playing career but also as a coach that you want to learn. And I think we've always said how important that is. Like you know, I balance a lot, and I've talked about it before, but coaches' greatest strength is their you know, they're dialed in. They're narrow-minded at times. And what I try to do is just open their eyes a little bit that there are other sports actually out there, that there are other ways of doing things, you know, blah, blah, blah. But for you, it seems like you did recognize that, and that is a great strength of yours. I mean, as we talk about emotional skills, is the willingness to learn. So that's really impressive. Do you think that? What do you think the biggest reason for your coaching success was? I mean, or traits or anything like that?
Well, I was at a great school, so I had, you know, good base, and you knew that the kids who were coming there came there with a balance about what they were going to do. So unlike somebody who's a professional coach, it isn't all about, as much as I'd like it to be, it's not going to be all about field hockey. It's going to be part of what they're doing, and I want that field hockey to be the best that they can be in it. But I also recognize they're doing these other things, and they're important too. And so I think in some ways that sets you up for a little bit of success because you have motivated kids, some of whom are exceptional athletes, some of whom are very medium, some of whom are just doing it because they have to, or because their friends are doing it, you know. And so what I loved was making a team out of that, you know, the disparate personalities and ability levels. And then how good can that team be? And how fun is it? Because eventually the kids who aren't as talented, they know as they get older, but they also know they were a part of something, a very important part of it. They might not have been the star on the team, but they were on that team that went 20-0.
Right.
And they were the defender who had to shut down so-and-so. And they appreciate, hopefully, those roles. And
Right.
so I think I had more of a fun job in coaching in that it wasn't like, if you don't win, we're going to fire you tomorrow.
Right.
But if you don't develop kids, then we don't probably want you. And I like developing, I like seeing what they can do.
Yeah. That's
But it really
cool.
sounds like you applied a lot of the same traits to your athletic success, to your coaching success. If you think about what you're talking about, is you went and volunteered to play with all these women in Cambridge, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
something that you just did on your own. You were a self-starter. You just went and put yourself in an environment where you were forced to learn, right? You became a lifelong learner before it was even a label, right? And then you did the same thing in coaching. What you just said is you went around to other places to learn. You were a lifelong learner as well. So you applied the same kind of thing. You put yourself in a situation where you saw the tools that other people had and possessed and try to make them your own.
Yes.
That's really impressive.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's really impressive. So
This is great. This is great. And I'm excited to continue the conversation in kind of our second part, which,
right, just so the audience knows, Gina has so many accomplishments that we're doing two shows, and this is the first show. We're talking about her as an athlete and her as a coach, but then we're going to do another show that's about her as an athletic director and all of her lessons that she taught and learned as an athletic director for years. So that's another show with Gina. So this has been great today, Gina. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
It's been great.
It was great. So thanks.
thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Epilogue.
So Nick, I thought that was a great session.
Oh, yeah. Gina Buggy, somebody you feel like you've known for years. That's how I felt. Like it was like I had never met her. I
Right.
heard about her, but she has that infectious personality that you just feel like you've known her for years, and she makes you feel that way.
Right. She is amazing. I think she's a great example of what your thing is, the fountain and the drain. She is a great example of a fountain in everything she does. I mean, if you think about how she became an Olympian, was because she hustled, because she put energy into it, because she even said herself, she wasn't the best player. There was lots of players that were better. I think I'm paraphrasing her the right way. But she got it because she was just a constant go gadget kind of thing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a fountain.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I love that she was very present. I mean, and I don't mean sitting here. She was there too. But I mean, just the way she went about things, it was almost like she didn't have this end goal. It was she loved to compete. She looked for competition and to play, and she just did her best in every moment. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh wow, the Olympics is possible. And then I think there was different things. So I loved how it was live in the moment, play in the moment. Let's see, and it wasn't this great goal. It kept her focused and obviously got her to great places.
Right. And it wasn't such in the moment that she wasn't constantly trying to better herself.
Oh,
So,
100%.
I mean, if you look at what she did when she went and played pickup ball up in Cambridge, right? She was a lifelong learner then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when she was a coach, she went out and did the same kind of thing. She watched the other sports to see what she could learn from other sports.
Yep.
So I agree with you 100%. And at the same time she was doing that, she was constantly moving forward by being a lifelong learner, learning lessons wherever she could.
Oh, I agree. And then the hypnosis, the vulnerability to be open to new things was a continuous theme with
Right.
her. And then I will say that shocked me when she said it. You don't hear
Me
many
too.
of that. And so when she said she had, done hypnosis to try to free her mind up of being able to reach the next level and
Right.
not stop herself was awesome.
Yeah, especially back in that era.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you would have said that to me back then, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
I mean, she's amazing. The vulnerability that she, as we talk about the vulnerability is really like being secure in yourself and secure enough in yourself in order to put yourself out there
Yeah.
and take the risk. And she did that all the time.
I agree. The themes that I loved from her that I think are relevant for coaches in building teams, but also for athletes, is humility. I mean, come on, like how humble is she?
Right.
It's like you almost have to pull it out of her
Right.
how great
She's
she was in her
she's an Olympic
accomplishment.
medalist.
Correct.
She made 2 national teams, lacrosse and field hockey.
Yeah, and what I loved is just even her explanation of making the Olympic team was like she was a team first.
Right.
Do whatever you need to do. Excelled in the fitness, in the kind of the preparation and all the controllables,
The hustle,
right?
the hustle.
And then she was a chameleon. I think it sounded like she could play any position,
Right.
and so she created this value. And as a coach, when you're building teams, that you want some of them. You don't necessarily want the greatest players. The 16, as she described it, the 16 best players in the country. You need those unbelievable role players, and I think you see that in sometimes in the building of teams. And I'm always, and I said it in the show, the fascination of the USA basketball or whatever, and then those last 4 players that they take, are often not the
Right.
the 9th All-Star, the 10th All-Star. It's sometimes oftentimes the role players, and I see that all the time. People who excel at role players, and she's probably being humble in that. We haven't seen her play. She may have been a lot more than a role player, but the way she described it, she could play a bunch of different roles.
Right.
I thought it was fantastic.
She created value.
Yes, 100%.
Created value.
Yeah,
I
loved
can't-
it.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to have her on again.
Agreed. Thanks for setting that up.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. We want to hear from you with your questions and comments. You can find us at thenickanthonyshow.com and our social media handles, which you can find in our description.